For every single person heading off to college, there's this one massive decision that comes up, and it's almost as big as what you're going to study. And that is, where are you going to live? It's a choice that can pretty much shape your entire student life. So let's jump right into this. And this question isn't unique to just one place. I mean, from Boston to Berlin, and absolutely right here in Saudi Arabia, every student has to figure this out. It's just a fundamental part of the whole university experience. So let's really focus in. The big question from our source material is pretty simple. Where are students in Saudi Arabia actually living while they're in school? And believe me, the answers are pretty interesting. For a lot of students, the answer is the most obvious one. They live at home with their family. It makes sense, right? It's comfortable, it's familiar, and financially, it's often the smartest move. But that's just one part of the story. Because here's where it gets tricky. What happens if the university you want to go to is in a totally different city? All of a sudden, you're faced with a decision that comes with a whole lot more freedom, but also a whole lot more responsibility. So when you move away for school, students in Saudi Arabia, just like students everywhere, usually have two main options to choose from. Let's break them down. Okay, so on one side, you have the apartment. That's your ticket to independence, right? Your own space, your own rules. And on the other side, you have the campus dorm, designed for convenience, for community, putting you right in the middle of all the action. Each one has its own vibe. And that dorm option is super common. A lot of the major universities all across Saudi Arabia, like the ones you see here, offer on-campus housing for their students. It's a really established part of the university system. To make this feel a little more real, let's follow a student named Ahmed, as he tries to make this exact decision for himself. So Ahmed's talking it over with his friend Hameed, who, well, let's just say Hameed has some very strong feelings about renting an apartment. Let's see what he has to say. So Ahmed is all hyped up about this apartment he's found, but his friend Hameed just immediately slams on the brakes. And there's Ahmed's reaction. He thinks this place is absolutely perfect. But as you're about to see, Hameed is getting ready to give him a major reality check. This is where their two perspectives are really going to collide. To really drive his point home, Hameed uses some very informal, everyday English. So let's quickly decode what he's actually saying to understand the real weight of his advice. Hameed's first warning is all about those hidden costs, like air conditioning. He tells Ahmed they cost an arm and a leg. So what does he really mean by that? I mean, he's obviously not being literal, right? He's using this kind of informal language to add some serious punch to his financial warning. Yeah, when something costs an arm and a leg, it's just a way of saying it is crazy expensive. Hameed is basically telling Ahmed that the bills are going to be way, way higher than he's expecting. And he doesn't stop there. To really hammer the point home, he says he's talking about megabucks. So what about megabucks? It's another piece of slang. But the message he's sending is crystal clear. The amount of money we're talking about here is no joke. It's just a really casual way of saying a whole lot of money. Hameed is doubling down on his warning. This apartment is going to be a massive financial drain. So, after that pretty intense reality check from Hameed, Ahmed has to seriously rethink his whole plan. Let's see what he decides to do. Okay, so Ahmed has his list of must-haves. A bedroom, a place to park, a washer and dryer. But after Hameed's warnings about the real cost, it sinks in. An apartment with all of that is just out of his price range. So he makes the practical call, stay home for another year and save up some money. And Ahmed's story brings us right back to that huge question. It really shows that there is no single right answer. It's always a balancing act between independence, convenience, and, of course, financial reality. So it really makes you think. What do you believe is the single most important factor when a student is deciding where to live?